Good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you're watching from, and welcome to Splunk Studios. This is our last live recording of .conf 23, and we're here at the Venetian Hotel in Las Vegas, so thank you for joining us. And I'm here with Tom Casey, who is our GM of Products and Technology.
Hello.
Tom, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with me.
It's a ton of fun.
It is a ton of fun, and you are a .conf 23 survivor, so we are right at the end of the program.
Is that what we call the newbies?
This is what we are calling the newbies,
All
so
right.
Congratulations. But how's it been? This is your first .conf.
Yeah, it's been fantastic. It's been fantastic. I think I'm really struck by the level of engagement everybody has. The community really supporting itself, talking about new functionality, sharing best practices. I think that's a fairly unique thing that comes out of the level of skill and enthusiasm that this community has. I think that's been wonderful. I've seen more fezzes than I've seen at any other conference I've ever been to. Yeah, maybe more fezzes than I've seen in any one place. That is something to be proud of. And I think that there's a lot of excitement. I mean, not just mine and yours, because part of it is we're relieved that everything came off so well.
Yes.
Which it really did. So congratulations. I think it's been great.
Thank you.
But from the press to the analysts to our customers to our sponsors and our partners, I just think everybody's getting value out of that engagement, and it's great.
Yeah, it's been awesome. And I was looking at, we have an interactive map of Splunk hoodies, and the .conf hoodie is a real thing. People collect them. We're in our 14th .conf, and there's this interactive map, and it was amazing to see that the one that is going furthest away is going back to New Zealand. So this really is an event where people come from all around the world to join in and be part of the community. I think you've been man of the moment. You're our new sort of head of product and technology. This is your first conf, and I've seen you all over the place, whether you're talking on the main stage, in breakouts, analysts, media, customers, parties. I think I might have seen you at the search party last night.
Actually, yeah, that's what I mean by engagement. There's been a lot of deep conversations in noisy rooms at some of these gatherings. It's fun, of course, but
yeah, people
are loving it. So yeah, it's been great.
And what's the buzz? What's the feedback? What are you hearing?
Well, I think there are a few things. I think in general, I'm hearing reflected back feedback on innovation, which is good. That's part of what we really wanted, right? I think we had the pre-conference announcements around the Enterprise 9.1 release, the cloud platform updates, the stuff we've already rolled out this year. I think people are starting to get a sense of some momentum, and that's being reflected back a lot. And then, of course, the three big announcements. There's a lot of talk about those things.
Yeah.
And what I like about each, I think, Claire, is that especially with us coming up on 20 years, you and I were talking about that right before, each one of those represents value today and a signal of kind of use case expansion and enthusiasm for new scenarios kind of for the future that we build on. So, what we announce at the top level, right? Azure. You can buy in the Azure Marketplace now, and coming soon, we're bringing the native cloud optimized applications to Azure, right?
Yep.
AI, we've got the new assistants that we've announced here, the Splunk AI assistant, the anomaly detection assistant, adaptive thresholding, those things now. And there's all this great stuff people can see coming by continuing to tune prompt-based engineering and AI from our data in the product. And then, Edge Hub. To be very clear, we're not giving anybody an Edge Hub to use at home. I should probably point that out to anybody listening.
Do you have an Edge Hub at home?
I don't even have an Edge Hub at home.
Let's talk about what is the Edge Hub.
But it is fantastic to connect the world of OT to IT. It is a hardware and software device that we've just introduced, sold exclusively through our partner channel. Really has a set of onboard sensors as well as plug-in sensors. You can install basic algorithms on the device itself and eventually further applications there. But fundamentally, it logs all that unlogged environmental data, vibration on a conveyor belt in a manufacturing environment, temperature, humidity, all of those sorts of things, so that you can really not only keep your shop floor or facility running,
yep,
but you can do it in an integrated way using Splunk, which you're already using, your existing Splunk dashboards. And so it turns all of this, all the ambiance into data.
Which is awesome, and I know that we were brave enough to do a live demo and to see that industrial manufacturing use case, which was really fantastic.
It was pretty cool. What did we do? I think we did 4 live demos on the main stage at least this year.
We did. We were brave. So let's dig into some of the main stage announcements as well. And I know we were joined by customers, so maybe you can talk us through some of those announcements you made.
Yeah, so we made a series of announcements. On day one, Gary announced the partnership with Microsoft around delivering Splunk's products on optimized for Azure.
Yep.
As I said, that's availability to purchase Splunk's products in the Azure marketplace right now, which is great for customers that are committed to Azure. That confirms our commitment to choice.
It does, and we had our first transaction yesterday, which I think is awesome. Yes, so it works, which is fantastic.
That's
so
great.
Go check that out.
Number one. I wonder how many we had today.
Pardon?
That's immediately what I wonder.
And
and then certainly Edge Hub we were just talking about as well. We announced that on first day as part of Gary's keynote with the live demo on stage. Poor Buttercup has ridden the conveyor belt a few times at variable speeds.
Okay, well.
And a lot of promise of that. And then, we showed of the things that are really kind of net new and garnering some buzz, Attack Analyzer, the integration of that TwinWave acquisition and bringing Attack Analyzer for visualizing complex threat trees and handling that detection as part of security. We did unified login and common login for observability, highlighted adaptive thresholding there on the main stage, and then in the platform we focused very much on edge processor, this idea of kind of capturing more data at the edge, not just throwing it away, filtering and routing it over to places like Amazon S3 buckets or the AWS Security Lake. And not just routing it to those places and then leaving it as latent data, but also having federated search for the ability to go back and access the value of that on demand when you need it. And so I think across the board in security, observability, and the platform, we were able to show some exciting new innovations in addition to enhancements to things people already have. And that combination seems well received. At least that's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, me too. And let's talk a bit about edge processor federated search. Why is that so important for customers now with so much data? I mean, what's the real value that those products give them?
Yeah, well, even before we connect the OT world to IT and bring in all of those scenarios, just the existing sort of digitally born software and hardware assets we think of in the IT and engineering environment, those are throwing off just ever more volumes of data and event streams right now. Mm-hmm. I talked about this on the main stage as well. The complexity in our world has just grown so much that you can get overwhelmed with that data. And so it's critically important that you be able to combine Splunk's strength in schema on read and searching for that needle in a haystack with Splunk's strength in identifying, filtering, kind of sorting that data and routing it to the right places now so that you have access to the data that you want kind of hot, warm, and cold. Yep. And the things you think you might need later. Yep. For forensic purposes, for compliance, or for something else. And so it's just this issue. I think we cited a statistic already of more than 80% of IT operations teams say that their environments are more complex, substantially more complex now than they were before, ever. And I think that if you surveyed them tomorrow, they would say the same thing about today.
Absolutely.
So it's not going to get any easier, and so Splunk is here to kind of move, if you will, a little bit closer to the source of the data to help you organize it better so you can make sense of it. And then we're still there to make it easy to search it and access it in Splunk. And adjunct stores like your data lakes.
Yeah, and make that all cost efficient as well, because that's a really big consideration. And I like the way, I know we were joined on stage by Carnival Corporation, who has 300,000 passengers. They go to 700 ports on these huge floating cities, and just so much data. And it was such a great example of bringing sort of those worlds of security and observability together, underpinned by a platform. So what are some of the best customer, I think, examples that you've seen this week as well?
Yeah, I love them. There was the Rappi example. They're an e-commerce and delivery company. Yep. They've kind of baked Splunk Observability Cloud into what they're doing to provide both uptime and real user monitoring, drive greater user engagement and efficiency. which is wonderful. And then you have Carnival. Carnival's whole conversation wasn't a conversation that started from the perspective of security or started from the perspective of system uptime. It's about experiences for human beings, about experiences for people. And I really love those two examples because at the end of the day, the whole purpose of creating a safer and more resilient digital world is so we can enjoy ourselves in a sense. And so I thought that was really fun. And then, as somebody who still fancies himself a bit of a geek, whether it's conversations about what's happening with, our partners who are experts in OT environments, and talking about the number of sensors, the way those are managed today, how they need to be brought together. There are some fantastic examples that are lingering out there as well. And then this isn't so much a scenario that we've talked about, Claire, as it is a trend around Splunk that I thought was really interesting. You and I were talking about this at the beginning. There are a lot of people here. This feels like a pre-COVID kind of event, right?
I think it feels like we're back. So the last time we were here actually was 2019, and it feels really similar to...
Yeah, and one of the customers that I met with in my customer meetings yesterday said they brought more than 20 people to .conf and certified a subset of them over the weekend. I mean, the fact that people are, especially if they're watching their dollars, that they're choosing to spend their dollars on increasing their competency in Splunk means that we help them discover more value and more use cases. And so it's almost like the things you and I don't see that are hidden in our data and hidden in the opportunity that are as interesting as the things we do see on the main stage or elsewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is such a big learning event as well. We run Splunk University, and this year we have extended certifications for a couple of days and just really helping people get hands-on and learn more. I think one of the big areas of excitement and interest is AI. I heard some news this morning that they have artificially engineered an Oreo.
A what?
An Oreo.
Okay.
It's one smart cookie.
Oh. Tony Pavlovich, our chief.
No, that's all me. But anyway, let's dig in. So let's talk AI, because I know there were big announcements from us this week, and I'd love to start in how are we thinking about AI and how can we help our customers?
Yeah, great. We did announce Splunk AI, which puts a name to investments we've been making around machine learning and language model applications of various sizes to advancing detection, and mostly detection scenarios previously, but really now moving more into action as well. So Splunk AI really has three things that are a key part of it. First of all, it's all about security and observability. We understand that domain. Our community here has expertise in that domain, so we think we can build the best models and focus on getting to action, which is what we're about. We keep the human in the loop, and this is really seems to have resonated well with people. That idea that security and observability are about uptime and safety, and that's a trust conversation. And I think it's critically important that as we continue as an industry and a market to tune AI, that the human beings are there taking recommendations and optimizations from things like our anomaly detection assistant, from things like our natural language-based Splunk AI assistant, which will help you do search in natural language. That notion of that tight feedback loop of a human saying, yes, this is right and what I want, and oh, you're recommending I do this instead, and that's a good thing, both helps humans get to the right answer right now, and ultimately becomes a really nice built-in mechanism for training and refining those models for them to work better over time. So I love that. Human in the loop is the second piece. And then, this is not something that's just brand new for us.
Yep.
We've had our machine learning toolkit, which has been was introduced in 2015, I think originally.
And I think 200,000 downloads. It's a really
200,000 plus downloads. We've just refreshed that. We've just had an update to our data science and deep learning application on Splunk Base. And we're really delivering AI for everyday use now with these individual assistants that are showing up everywhere. So I think there's the domain-specific expertise we bring around security and observability. There's knowing you've got to keep the human in the loop, and we have that going for us with a great community and user base. And then this idea of showing up in people's everyday lives in our product with these sets of assistants in the workflow, but still being open and Splunky with the toolkits.
Totally, and it was so good. I know you've brought on board our new CTO, Min Wang, and to see her on the stage talking through and going to build that. I'm excited for next.conf. I think there's going to be a huge sort of exploration of AI in that time, so we look forward to what you and the team will build.
It's funny, for AI is something that's been around for 20 plus years, and for something that's been around that long, we're just getting going.
I know.
It's like we're just getting started is what it feels like too.
Feels like 3G all those years ago, and finally it came. But talking about predictions, what's ahead? There's so much exciting things happening in the world of AI, but what would be a prediction or two you'd have for us about what's going to happen next in the world of technology?
In the world of technology at large. Well, I think a year from now we'll probably be here in Vegas. I can predict that, and some techies will be wearing fezzes.
That's true.
So that for sure will happen.
That doesn't count, but nice try.
That doesn't count. Dang it. I think a few things are going to happen. The major trends around kind of the complexity and explosion of data and the heterogeneity environments, that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. And so, positioning ourselves and having the investments we've made as a vendor of choice for multi-cloud, supporting on-premise, the reach to incorporate more devices in the environment, I think all that is consistent with that and a thing we'll continue to invest in and build on. With all of that comes the overwhelm of data. We know that AI is part of the answer to go help refine and focus our work and where we need to spend our attention units as humans. And so we're going to see that continue. And I think what you'll really see from Splunk in the near and long is sort of this bit where we're going to have a lot of these assistants that we deliver to help in the SOC and the NOC on a daily basis, and then continue to introduce kind of some aggregate new capabilities like we did with the Splunk AI assistant that's for more ad hoc use as well. So I think the market is going to find its way through the hype, and I suspect they're going to end up in a similar place to where we're approaching this to right now, because you've got to offer pragmatic value every day to people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that's what we're trying to focus on. So those two things. And then teleportation, I'm waiting for that.
That would be great.
I don't see that necessarily.
Would you go forward or back though?
I would do a little both forward and back, though.
A bit of time traveling.
Yeah, maybe time travel is more what I want than teleportation.
Well, it's Splunk's 20th anniversary this year, which is amazing. So let's teleport you back 20 years ago. Where were you? What were you doing?
20 years ago, where was I?
It was 2003.
I think I was 2003. I was still working at Microsoft. I was changing diapers.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter will be 21
I can relate. I change
this
a lot
year.
of diapers at the moment.
That's
so
right.
I can relate,
You're in the middle of that right now.
Good to know I have a ally.
Yeah, and
where did you live? You were in Seattle.
I was living in Seattle, but like everybody else, almost everywhere else in the world, it seemed like overnight we were listening to the White Stripes' Seven Nation Army, because I remember that was 2003, sometime in 2003.
So you're having a lot of fun. You're on the
when
music
that came
scene.
out, and as a total hack on guitar for sure. Everybody knows how to play that.
Do you still catch gigs and do stuff like that?
No, not nearly enough. I didn't do it then either. I was changing diapers. It all ended for me just prior to that.
Don't say that. That's funny. Okay, so in 20 years' time, maybe we'll both still be here hanging out, Tom, talking in Splunk Studios. Who knows? But just to wrap up in terms of what we've heard today, and thank you so much for being with us.
Sure.
I think 20 years ago, Splunk was all around helping customers be resilient. Today, we're helping them be ready for anything, and it sounds like we're going to continue to build that out. And we will check back in with you next year and see how that's going. So thank you for all you do to help our customers stay up and running.
Thank you, Claire. Appreciate your partnership. One of the greatest things about being at Splunk is, I think, how much fun we get to have together, and that includes this great user community we have. So
it does.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us. Enjoy. Congratulations for making it through to the end of .conf 23, and we will see you next year. Cheers.